The following is a short video on how to accomplish rounding within standard counterpoint. As many of you know, the United States government is moving away from using pennies, and within counterpoint, it is important that we have an ability to round to the nearest nickel. The method I'm going to show you first is how, using standard counterpoint, we can round to the nearest nickel increment. This is within standard counterpoint, and it's built into the system. To do this, the setup is to go to Setup, System. There's something called Currency Codes, and we're going to look up the home currency code. There is a choice here for currency rounding, and what this means is if you came to 0.01, 0.02, that would round down. If you were at 0.03 or 0.04, you would round up to the nearest nickel. If it ends in 0.0, there's no rounding needed. If it ends in 0.05, there's no rounding needed. The next step is we've made these choices. I'm going to use my tab key. You'll notice the rest of this form opens up. We do need to select a rounding account. And for my demonstration, I'm going to choose petty cash. Of course, you would check with your accountants and choose an account that makes sense for you. So that's step one of the setup. And again, that was under Setup, System, Currency Codes. We set a minimum denomination value of a nickel, and we set a rounding account. The rounding method is normal. The second part of the setup is to go to Setup, System, Pay Codes. And you most likely have a pay code called cash. And you'll go to the Tender tab, and there are two check boxes that it is important that we uncheck these. Otherwise, it will not round to a nickel. So we uncheck those two. That is the setup. So having done those steps, we'll go over to point of sale touchscreen, and I will show you an example of ringing up a single item. So let's put an item on here. So I have an item that is currently rounding to, I have an item that the amount is currently $16.34. And because we're using standard rounding rules, we're close to 5 cents. We're going to round up to 35 cents. All I have to do if I'm the employee is I go to pay, I go to cash, and you'll notice there's this new pop-up that you may not have seen before, and it shows that the amount due is $16.34, and it shows the rounding amount of $16.35. All I need to do now is put in the amount. Maybe they give me $17, and this will come back. There's my cash, my change due of 65 cents. If I look at my receipt, you'll see top portion of the receipt shows the amount due. Here's the amount that was taken and the change. So that's using standard counterpoint, and those are the steps to set that up. The pros of using standard counterpoint is a very quick and easy setup. Currently, though, standard counterpoint only does normal rounding, meaning rounding to the nearest nickel, whether that means sometimes round up, sometimes round down. We do know that there are a number of retailers who've requested the ability to always round down or to always round up. And so for that circumstance, LPA does have a custom mod. I won't show the setup for that here because that's all things that LPA we do behind the scenes, but I will show you what that would look like if it was used. I'm going to use the same item. This is coming again to $16.34. I'm going to go to my payments. I have a pay code already set up. This is the LPA mod, and this is set up to always round down. So when I click on that, you'll notice that because of a few things that we did behind the scenes, that what we started as $16.34 did automatically round down to $16.30. I'll take my $17 payment again and say OK. And you'll notice there's my change due. I'll look at the receipt here. On the receipt, you can see here's the total portion at the top. With our LPA mod, we can actually show the rounding amount. In this case, it's labeled as miscellaneous charge, but that can be edited to say round down or round up, whatever the case may be. And there we have our totals. So that is an example of the LPA cash rounding mod. Hopefully this helps. If you have any questions, please reach out to LPA, and we'd be happy to share more information with you about this.